Greetings, my Katara Sojo and Our Wonderland crossover thinkers. My name is Flare Bliss, and we have returned to our adventures of Our Wonderland, starting Act 3, in which the main focal point is Iggy and Orlam. So I wonder how we're going to be faring with our monarch friend once we reach the other world, the Wonderland. Orlam stares at me as though he's never seen me before in his entire life. I think it's mainly due to the fact that we never really bothered to see him outside of the dreamland and, well, in the childhood phases. He's an absolute mess. Hair jutting out in greasy clumps, cheeks are sickly grey, and eyes sunken atop boulder-sized bags. He's wearing the same shirt as yesterday with nothing but boxers and socks beneath. Iggy? He blinks. Is that really you at my door at this hour? Do you realize what time it is in the night? I raise a hand with what I hope is a friendly wave. Hey. Then when I have no idea what else to say, I called earlier? He squints, tilts his head. Are you sure that was you? Then seems to snap to attention, frantically searching his pockets. When he doesn't find what he's looking for, he throws a glance back into the apartment before returning his gaze sheepishly. I seem to have misplaced my phone. Did you need something? Well, is everything okay? I guess I got worried when you didn't pick up. Another twitch. You were worried about me? He blinks. Yeah, I mean, sure. Look, man, you don't look so hot. He laughs, but it's more skittish than his usual laugh, almost nervous. I'm fine, just a bit under the weather, you know. Drank too much yesterday? Asks with a grin. He smiles, except that it's not quite a smile, more like disguising a grimace. Sure, we'll call it that. I suddenly realised how awkward it is just standing in the doorway. It's, I mean, can I come inside? If it's not too much trouble. His eyes dilate and he stands up just a little bit straighter, not looking like that 80-year-old man that you see down the grocery store that is only unfortunately just able to get about. You want to come in? Another set of blinks. He throws a hesitant glance back into his apartment. I best hide all those magazines before he comes in, so I'll tell him just 5 hours until I get my apartment in presentable condition. Then finally steps back. Sure, go right ahead. He tries to curl an errant lock of bang behind his ear. It falls back out. He's just not chewing on it. I step inside. And it looks like we don't even know what the floor color is. And it immediately met with a sordid smell. It's not awful, but it's just kind of there, permeating. Damp and bitter and curling up inside my nostrils as I look around. You really live like this? Have you heard of something called a sink? And some soapy bubbles? The apartment is just as much as a mess as Orlam himself. As I say, what your room looks like is a representation of your state of mind. How you look after things. Clothes piled on the floor, sheets and blankets half falling off the bed, and clutter everywhere. Empty fast food wrappers, unopened mail, weird little trinkets, bottles, cans, glasses. Somewhere in there I can find some hope. Even the curtains look ready to give up the ghosts are falling off the rod and leaving a crescent moon of a sunlight on the opposite wall. I don't even know where I get the other "the" from. I don't say anything, but surely it's all over my face. What are you thinking of, Iggy? I know something's got your tongue. Orlam just stands there, wringing his hands. Another sweep of his hand through his hair. He darts towards the bed and pushes back the tousled mess of blankets and sheets. You can, sit here. You pass the newly cleared space. I do as I'm told, mostly because I'm not sure what else to do or where else I can sit that is appropriate to sit. If I'd felt awkward in the door, it was nothing like what I'm feeling now. I feel like I'm in a prison of my friend's home. Orlam scratched his head. You want anything? I must look at him blankly. Yeah, I'd like a glass of water, please. Coffee? Or something? Or water? I think maybe I've got some Coke too. What do you mean by maybe? Oh, coffee's fine. I mean, if it's no trouble. Do you even have coffee here? It's fine. It's great. I just, put a new pot on. What do you mean? What do you mean by new pot? He scratches his arm. At his arm, sorry. Almost like a dog scratching at fleas. And that is not a mental image I would not to have my mind encompass at this point in time, thank you very much, or any time for that matter. Ben skitters off towards the kitchen. He really is trying to hide those mags, huh? I stare at the entryway he disappears into for a few moments before redirecting my attention back to the room. It's a lot smaller than my apartment, and also has twice as much in it as well. At least I have a separate room for my bed. This is like an all-encompassing room, though his might not seem as small without the junk everywhere. There's a desk in the opposite corner with a dusty old laptop that definitely has Windows 95, and an empty bottle of whiskey. Piled up next to the desk are what look like 10 or 12 empty delivery boxes. Somebody of the recycling sort has not been recently, or Orlam has just not bothered to put the boxes out for recycling. And if you don't recycle those boxes, then I'm going to have a word with you. I'll let my gaze follow the wall back and around until it meets the bulletin board hanging over the bed. To-do list. Nothing. In between the fast food menus are scattered postcards, strange papers, and cutouts. Any cutouts of a crown shape? I can't for the life of me understand the value of and the occasional photo. One in particular catches my attention. Aw, look at that of the entire group. Isn't that just a load of fun? It's us. The 6 of us. The group photo we took at after prom, and look at Gensu. Oh dear, I just love Gensu's energy. It's so unique. Kuna and Bucks had been the only 2 to go to actual prom. The rest of us had just crashed the party afterwards. Our high school always held an all-night event of games and food in the gym after prom. I guess to keep the students from going off to party and drink on their own, even though they would do that anyways because there was that flashback of Gensu being hysterically drunk. And not even hysterically, but it's to that point where he could laugh at any joke. we look pretty smart, even for me, with my little sport coat. Gensu's got his arms around Orlam's and I's shoulders. Yeah, he's pretty drunk because he's showing affection to Orlam. Thumbs jutting out to the side like some kind of 90s frat boy. Hey, I was from the 90s as well, goddammit. Gidget's got her hands on her lips, looking mildly irritated at something. Yes, it's because of the fact that it's the fact that Iggy has not got any kind of nearby presence around Gidget. I think that's what it is. And Bucks is dying of laughter at something practically falling over on Huna's shoulders. Damn, does that feel like a lifetime ago? Do you remember when your final days of school were? Almost seems like a memory. Bit of a strange night though. I remember Gensu being super cleany for the first few hours. He'd snuck in some alcohol and kept making all these off-color remarks that he'd gotten progressively more wasted. Progressively is the worrying word there. Then he'd just disappear. Orlam too. And I'd been left to hang out with Gidget the rest of the night, sorry. She kept leaving unsubtle hints about how much she wished she could have gone to prom and, look at Dana's dress? Who for goddamn sakes is Dana? Wouldn't it have been magical to wear something like that? And then later that night, A hacking cough from the other room jolts me from my nostalgic reverie, and I throw a worried glance in the direction of the kitchen. You alright there, Orlam? Do you need a second set of hands? It continues for a good 10, 15... I was trying to read ahead there and thinking good 10, 15 minutes, not seconds. One of those wet, that word convulsions that racks your whole body. And it only ends when something thuds hard against the countertop. That liquid better still be in the mug, okay? I am curious to see where our man's is. Worry gets the better of me. I dart to the kitchen entryway. Hey, everything alright in here? Orlam spins towards me in surprise, one hand to his mouth and the faint glimmer of tears in his eyes. What's on there, Orlam? He seems to tense. It's fine. Another cough. You ill? His gaze flits around the room nervously. My own eyes follow. It's a small kitchen and strangely bare, especially compared to the clutter of the adjacent room. My attention goes first to the puttering coffee maker, then to the table with its two folding chairs. Folding chairs sounds cheap, unfortunately. One of those industrial-sized bottles of bleach is on top of the table. Ah, my favorite kind of drink if I've had enough of life. A wad of wet towels climbed up next to him. I know, that was really dark and I do apologize. Orlam lurches towards me before I have a chance to inquire. The coffee's almost done. Don't you mean the bleach is almost done? His eye does that twitch thing again and he keeps clasping his hands. I take the hint and back away. Okay, just make sure that the coffee is drinkable. Not that I really mind. I'm feeling uncomfortable enough as it is. I just want to see how you're doing there, Orlam. Instead, I wandered back to the bed, taking the opportunity to rub at my eyes beneath my glasses once I'm seated back down like the good boy I am. When I reopen them and my vision clears, I see Orlam staring at me from the entryway. Is there something amiss, Orlam? He's tapping his wrist against his thumb anxiously. First right wrist to left thumb, then left wrist to right thumb. Who is this, a game of Twister? When our eyes meet, he turns back into the kitchen. I chew on the inside of my cheek, brows furrowed. Finally, Orlam returns, carrying a mug of coffee between his hands. He's almost painstakingly careful in the way he walks, making sure it doesn't spill out and onto the floor. Well, you should not have too much liquid within the cup so that you would have to worry about it at all times. I can't help but find this funny given the current situation of the apartment. Here, he hands it over just as mindfully, making sure I can get my fingers around the handle. I hope it's okay. Thanks. The mug is orange and sports a Garfield face on one side. I bring it in towards my chest and peer down at the steaming liquid. Orlam takes a seat beside me. Hello there, you two. He sits close. Too close. His bony knee touches mine, and I can hear him breathing not far from my ear. Are you okay there? You look like you have not seen the bed for weeks. He pushes his veins back again and again. Are you gonna drink it? Yes. Why are you inquiring me so much as to drink it? Are you sure this is even coffee? Or coffee-looking liquid? I'm just waiting for it to cool down. There's no need to scald my mouth after all. Oh, more hand wringing. Sorry, it's a bit of a mess in here. I don't, have company often. It's fine. It's my fault anyway. Coming over unannounced, even though we did try and call you to see where the goodness sakes you were. I can see his stockinged feet curl against each other atop the carpet. It makes the muscles of his gangly legs lurch beneath the skin. You're worried about me? He repeats the same question from earlier. I pause in the middle of blowing on my coffee. Yeah, I tried calling, but he didn't answer. I even left a message. He brings his hands to his knees, gaze pointed downward. Pretty wild party yesterday, huh? Not sure I'd call it wild, but it was fun, yeah. Nice to get out a bit, and not just stuck looking at a rectangle with lights on it. Or in my case, it's both a rectangle and like a portrait rectangle. Okay, yeah. The side of Orlam's mouth twitches. A pause. Then, surprised you're not with Gidget. Why with Gidget? I do not want any experimentations at the moment, thank you very much, or not at all. Huh? What's that? Figured you'd go and console her. Girls are at their most vulnerable when they're upset, you know. And so are boys, for that matter. Anyone can be at their most vulnerable when they're emotional, but I get where you're trying to get at. Roll my eyes, all the more reason for me not to go then. Taking a sip of my delicious coffee. Me and vulnerable don't mix. So, you're kind of weird. You know that, Iggy? Aren't we all weird in our own different ways? Oh, I'm weird? I, of course, hit at the bars afterwards. You know me, party animal. Once I start, I just can't stop. Wouldn't have expected any less. Must have had like... Okay, I'm... Are you sure you won't dream me, man? But alas, it is good to dream. Must have had like 10 girls hitting on me. Absolutely ferocious, these ones. But goddamn, most gorgeous and sexiest girls you've ever seen. Oh yeah? 2 of them even wanted to have a... For goodness sakes, but I had to refuse, for goodness sakes, because I, as the king of these lands, just do not have the room to accommodate for all of you lovely ladies. But I had to refuse, bed's just not big enough, you know. Yeah, this is definitely an alternate timeline that doesn't even exist. But I'm thinking of getting a remodel. Something that screams me. A real love shack kind of thing. I thought you were seeing someone at work. When has that happened? Maybe I've taken too much of a break away from the game at this point in time to remember who it was that Orlam was possibly seen at work. But we'll go with the optimistic route. Sounds pretty sweet. Doesn't it though? It'd be like the talk of the town. I could bring people home every night. I mean, not that I don't already. You just said that you don't have frequent visitors. My place is basically Grand Central Station. No. You're not the center of gravity, you know. We are all part of the center of gravity. When this bed's a rocking, don't come a knocking. Yes. You should see me. You'd honestly be so jealous. I'm basically a god of the night scene. And then I wake up. He's getting really excited now. His words coming out faster and faster, almost as though he can't stop them. They're like chain smoking, but instead just keep on talking. Guys, girls, everybody wants some of this. You know what I mean? Am I right or am I right? No, that's not Genzu. That is for Genzu. Oh, guys do? His eye twitches. He frowns. Looks away. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that if you're into that. You know, Ben smiles. Whatever makes you happy. I mean, who am I to say no, huh? You know how it is. I stare at him a moment longer, not saying anything. Then finally take another sip of my coffee. He leans in close, eyes growing wide as he watches me drink it. I pause. Slowly turn towards him, one eyebrow raised. He sits back, clasps his hands while making as many different kinds of emotions as possible. Unclasps them. Do you want something to eat? I could order something. I'm fine, really. I look at him for a moment. Really look at him. From the greasy points of his scraggly bangs to the greenish tinge of his cheeks. Green isn't a normal color for skin. To the way his knobby knee keeps knocking against mine. Oh my god, you fitted 4K words in at the same time, that alliteration. Orlam, I finally say, are you seriously okay? He blinks. Laughs. What are you talking about? Oh. Yeah, that's really not okay. I hope nothing multicolored comes out of that. Except that in the next instant, his body lurches forward and his hands go to his mouth. The sudden movement makes me jerk backwards, spilling about half my coffee up and onto my shirt. Well, at least it's not on the floor, but still, what is going on, Orlam? Excuse me. He manages before abruptly sliding off the bed and racing through the bathroom. What the hell? I don't even mind the coffee. I set the mug down on the floor and take off after him. Then reach the door just in time to see him throw up the contents of his stomach into the toilet bowl. Ew, dear. Looking for that big white telephone, which is called the toilet, by the way. You know those huge flip phones we used to have? Well, just imagine it all in white, and that's the toilet. It sounds awful. Each heave a horrific gag that sounds like he's ripping his throat open, his shoulders shudder from the force of it. Goodness sakes. See, it is the big white telephone. Just look at that. It's a big old white toilet. How could you not see that as a big old telephone? Also, anyways, after a minute or so, the convulsions begin to die down, and his body slumps down onto the toilet seat. Head hanging half into the bowl, just barely able to hang in there. I don't know what to say other than you played yourself, so I don't say anything. Instead, I kneel down next to him, one hand to his back. Good supportive friend there. I can feel the knobs of his spine through his rumpled shirt as I rub up and down. And when he sits back down, vomit, saliva, and snot drip down his face and chin, his whole body shivering. Yeah, something not great is going on. The color in the bowl is worrying. A horrible greenish brown. Hey, come on, I finally say, pulling him over towards the wall. I sink to my seat and he slumps against my shoulder. Damn. My dude, it's quiet. Too quiet. Quiet except for the occasional sniff, the occasional hiccup. There's a towel half wadded, half hanging from the rag just a short ways overhead, so I grab it and use it to wipe at his mouth and chin. You're fine now. For some reason, this makes him smile, juggle. I see him bite down on his lip, hard enough to make it bleed. I did it to myself, you know. It's barely more than a whisper. I don't say anything at first. Then, what do you mean? Another chuckle. This one sends a gooey chunk down his chin. It's satisfying somehow, watching all of that come pouring out of me, like I'm washing myself clean. Yeah, but you had to be dirty in the first place in order to make that cleansing happen to begin with. I'm frozen now. One hand to his back, the other still clutching the towel. It's the only way to make all the bad thoughts go away. Goodness sakes. I close my eyes, open them again. Goodness sakes. My mind jumps back to the bleach on the table. Orlam, you can't. You can't. It's worse every time I see him. Is that Genzo you're referring to? Maybe we'll learn a darker side to Genzo in this act. His smile fades, twists downward. I can see his lips trembling, or lip trembling. Every time I hope it'd be different, but it's always the same. All those feelings come rushing back. He brings his hands to his head, fingers digging into his scalp, as though trying to scoop something out. I wish. Don't say that to yourself, Orlam. You have a full life ahead of you. And your friends, well, one of them is a bit of a douche to you at times. They all care about you. My grip on his shoulder tightens. You don't mean that. When we are at our worst, we do think of this sort of stuff as a ways of an escape of the pain. Who is he talking about? Genzo? It has to be Genzo. Genzo had certainly given him a lot of shite over the years, but had it been that bad? I suppose if it stacks over time, then you at some point have had enough of it. Guilt tugs at my conscience. I hadn't been the angel of innocence either, never telling Genzu to stop. I'd sometimes even go along with him just for the laughs. And then when Orlam's mum had died... Ugh. I'm not going to read that out loud, but you know what kind of content that that topic refers to. I wince. I still remember the day he come back to school after that. Genzo had gone over to him, face a picture of worry and arms outstretched. And Orlam, for the first time I'd seen this little glimmer of happiness in Orlam's eyes, even through the bleak and the tears. And then Genzo had grabbed the back of his shirt collar and jerked it upwards like a noose around his neck, imitating the music from Psycho and saying, "Ugh, damn it. Genzo, for goodness sakes, man." Maybe things had been worse than I remember. A lot of the most severe of wounds are not on the surface. There are scars that are too deep to see from the outside. I look down at Orlam's hunched form and feel this sort of weird heat building up in the base of my belly. Anger. Anger at myself. Anger at Genzu. Anger at life in general. Do not allow the anger to control you, envelop you, make you quote-unquote stronger. I'm not normally an angry person. I like to think of myself as a normally calm and collected person. But when I'm angry, you best run for the hills. And I think that to any normally calm person, probably the exact opposite actually. A little too easygoing. A little too blasé about things. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But that thought just fuels my anger. Because maybe if I hadn't been like that, maybe if I'd actually done something or said something, things might not have ended up like this. It's mainly Genzu, because he is the main catalyst, or the only catalyst. You were just there like a moon orbiting the Earth. The Earth is the main catalyst of the gravity to begin with in this case, while the moon, being you, Iggy, were orbiting around him. You already impacted in the Earth once, by the way. I need my thumb into Orlam's shoulder with a sigh. He gives a little hiccup, his back jumping. No one's ever done anything like this for me before. He glances back at me with a smile, and for a second, I see the old Orlam, the high school Orlam from that photo, who might have still been a jumpy, mousy, whiny little thing, but at least when he'd smile at you, there'd been some genuine joy and happiness behind it. I return the smile and pull him in against my side with a squeeze. Ah, Iggy, you really are there for your friends, even though you don't always betray it at every time, at your best means. Hey, what are friends for? Exactly, what are friends for? Our Wonderland, Act 3. I get back to my apartment a bit before dinner time, but even back in the safe familiarity of my home, I can't stop thinking about Orlam. I told him to call me if he ever needed anything, even if just to talk. And did we get his home phone rather than his mobile phone so we could actually communicate with him? But I have no idea if he's actually going to take me up on it. I feel like I should be doing something, telling someone. But who? And would it even help? I don't know. I just don't know. I sit at my desk and rub at my eyes, belly a tumbling froth of guilt, uncertainty, and anger. The anger's still there, like a simmering soup just beneath my consciousness. Each bubble represents a moment in which you become just a little bit more angry. I stare at my computer monitor, or at least keeping the anger there, not comprehending the text on the screen. I need to work. I'm so behind at this point. And yet, somehow I just don't care. It seems so pointless. What will doing any of this accomplish? A new API for James Addleston? James Addleston can go bonk himself. I push back from my desk and stand up. Maybe I'll play a game. A game of life. You only have one chance. I wander over to my shelves. I have a few that I've started already. One that I've got tired of grinding in. So I'm stalled out right before the final boss. A few dozen I've bought, but just haven't gotten around to playing yet. Don't you have a Steam library of your own that is just cluttered with games that you've bought but you've not yet to start? But you all seem like so much work. Yes, work. Something that you keep neglecting. I'm not in the mood to try jumping back into a story I've half forgotten. Nor am I in the mood to start something new. This feels familiar but yet new to me. I let my fingers fall from the shelf. Maybe I'll watch TV. That doesn't require work. But then again, I gotta press the TV on and then push the remote button so that it would work and go to the correct channel and stuff like that. Damn, that requires work as well. What about bed? After grabbing myself a bowl of peanut butter ice cream from the fridge, I plop myself down on the couch and jam my thumb on the remote. There's gotta be something good on. I can't take it anymore. I never thought I would stray from Natasha, but I can't control myself when I think of you. I must have you. Oh, Clark, I need you inside of me. She's still the one for you, and she'll ask for daily. Lets you be ready anytime the moment is right. Last week on Big Male Sibling, things got hot and heavy when Veronica and Cornelius found themselves alone in the hot tub. They found a new life ahead of them. I let the spoon bob up and down between my lips, then switch over to Netflix and start the Shawshank Redemption for probably my 100th time. The Shank Shaw. I descend further and further on the couch throughout the course of the movie, and my eyelids slowly becoming more and more going down, until by the time the credits are rolling, I'm slumped over with one leg propped up on the back and one hand hanging over the side, barely keeping its grip on my empty ice cream bowl. Well, at least it's empty when you drop it. Damn, it's not even that late. How am I so tired? I can't help but feel like there was something I was supposed to do. Yeah, work. Something important I should have been thinking about. But even that fiend is quickly drifting away. Maybe Orlam? Or maybe work? Or maybe even, you know. My eyes droop. Somehow my half-lidded gaze goes towards my messenger bag slumped against the far wall. Wait, why is it? I swear I'd see it move. I'm too tired. Ghosts! Too tired to care. Right now, all I want to do is sleep. Sleep and wander off into dream. Somehow we always end up here. I end up dreaming. I'm in the woods and someone's calling me. I chase after a voice in the darkness, but every time I think I'm getting close, it comes from a different direction. The person in question is everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Iggy. I run faster, the branches whipping at my face and the roots underfoot threatening to send me stumbling into the dirt. I'm here, Iggy. I run and I run and I run. Run until the forest seems to open up in front of me. Something. My gaze travels upward. Up, up, up. Higher and higher. Something's there. Something huge. My breath catches, and I take a stumbling step back. Defeat it. Wait, that's new. Defeat it? Defeat it? How the hell am I supposed to defeat this thing? It's a massive hunk of a tree. It's the size of a house. Okay, maybe not a tree. I hear it snort. It's the tree from Lord of the Rings. See its rear back. Then something's coming at me. I barely have time to leap out of the way, and I hit the ground with a bone-crunching thud that takes my breath away and makes my vision swirl. There's no way! What am I supposed to... I feel something in my hand, and when I glance down, I see a doll. A tiny doll, just sitting there, limp in my palm. Its button eyes staring up at me. Daddy? This is... In that moment, it sits up. First, its limbs jerk to life. Then its back rises, head lolling forward. It looks me straight in the eye and it says, "You are dead. Please kill me, Iggy." Okay, maybe the contrary. I gasp and sit up, only now I'm back on the couch and the sun is reflecting off the window straight into my eyes. Ugh. Goodness sakes. My body feels like it was stuffed in a trash compactor. My ears are killing me from sleeping with my glasses on. Yeah, that's not a good thing, because when it leans against your head, it's quite painful. I rub my eyes, take a moment to collect myself, then check my phone. 10:06. Damn, I slept a long time. And there's a nice big splotch on the front of my shirt from where I must have spilled ice cream last night. No, it's from the coffee you had at Orlam's. I cringe. Then drag myself to the bathroom to clean myself up. As I'm showering, I remember Orlam. He hasn't contacted me since yesterday. Not that he needed to, but still, the thought sends anxious tugs of worry up and down inside my belly. I should check on him. So once I'm done and back in the kitchen to start the comforting percolations of coffee, I pull up my phone and give him a ring. It cuts the voicemail after the 5th dial tone. I gnaw at the inside of my cheek. The bubbles of worry are starting to turn into a froth. I try twice more. Once after another 30 minutes, then again after forcing myself to wait a few minutes shy of an hour. Goodness sakes, goodness sakes, goodness sakes! Didn't he say he misplaced his phone yesterday? He probably just hasn't found it yet. After a whole day, surely by now he's found it. No, he just hasn't bothered to find it. Then maybe he's still sleeping? But it's afternoon already. I scratch at the back of my neck so hard I wince. Something's wrong. Before I even fully comprehend what I'm doing, I'm grabbing my shoes and keys and headed for the door. Straight to Station Orlam. I just know I won't be able to think clearly until I make sure he's okay. We're going to Station Orlam. Sorry, Central Station Orlam, for that matter. Orlam! My knock sounds uncomfortably loud in the empty hallway. Orlam, it's Iggy again. But there's no response. Even after 4 or 5 knocks, it remains shut. And when I push past the discomfort of looking like some kind of stalker to press my ear to the door, I hear nothing. No sounds of shuffling. No coughing. No padded footsteps. Goodness sakes, goodness sakes, goodness sakes! I let my forehead rest against the wood paneling. In my mind, I see him splayed out across the bathroom floor in a puddle of blood. Ridiculous. Orlam would never. I knock again, more frantic this time. Orlam, please, if you can hear me, make a noise or something. My ears go back to the door, straining. But there's still nothing. Not a single peep. And so I do the only thing I can think of to do. Is this burglary? I swallow my building social anxiety and march down to the main office of the apartment building. It's a small office. Not much more than a desk, some shelves, and a few cupboards. The shelves are full of packages, no doubt waiting to be picked up by the apartment residents. There's a woman inside reading a magazine at the desk. Hello there. She looks like she's in her 20s, though perhaps a rough 30s. A little rude. Her eyes look tired and her posture reeks of a complete surrender to apathy. Hey, she barely looks up at my entrance. I tap the tips of my fingers together, all of a sudden losing the initial grump tone I had on my trek over. Her gaze wanders back up. She blinks. Can I help you? Yes, it's just that my friend lives here, but he's not answering the door and I'm worried about him. She stares at me for a moment, then returns to her magazine. Sucks to be you then. Whoa. Goodness sakes, can't you at least help us with something? I press my lips together, brows flattening. You don't understand. I really need to get in there. And I need a sugar daddy to get me out of this place, but that won't be happening anytime soon, hun. Something snaps inside me, and I bring my hands down on the desk a little harder than I meant to. He might have killed himself. This makes her stop. She sits down with the magazine and gives me an incrudious once-over. Oh god, this is not what I need today. What's the apartment's number? 418. She pulls out a manila folder from one of her desk drawers and begins rifling through it. Slides out a form, studies it for a moment, then, oh my god, that creepy little bugger. I assume he didn't have any friends. I bring a hand up to scratch my arm awkwardly. He's so gross. Gives me the heebie-jeebies every time he comes in to pick up a package. I scratch harder to the point where I can feel the skin cells building up beneath my fingernails. Would probably... No, I'm not repeating those words because that's so harsh. You know, I'd really appreciate if you can the commentary. I finally spit out. She just rolls her eyes, then swivels back around to the locked file cabinet behind the desk. I back down my tongue to keep from saying anything more as I watch her comb through the maintenance keys. She must find the right set because she stands up and grabs her phone, stuffing it in the back pocket as she leads me back out into the hallway. Whatever, let's just get this over with. God, you are the true definition of apathy. You don't care for either yourself or others. Once back at Orlam's door, the nervousness renews its dance across my neck. What's taking her so long? Now she's going from key to key to key, taking what feels like hours to inspect each one. Don't you have, like, I don't know, numbers on them or something? Or any way to identify them individually? I shift my weight to the right, to the left, wipe at the cold sweat dampening the skin of my forehead and throat. Oh yeah, duh, she says with a laugh and pushes one of the keys into the lock. It opens with a dull click. I bump the door open the rest of the way before she even has a chance to pull the key back out. Orlam! With 2 large steps, I'm inside. The clutter is the same as yesterday, along with the smell. I rub my fingers inside my damp palms, look around. Orlam, are you here? The main room is empty. I make a beeline for the bathroom, brace myself for just a moment before pushing the door open and switching on the light. But alas, there is nothing there. There's nothing. He's not there. Just the towel on the floor that I cleaned him up with yesterday. I shuffle back out, check the kitchen, but it's equally as empty. Nothing and no one. My brows sink in confused worry. He's not here. Damn, and here I was hoping I could at least go home with a story. Well, you have a story that's filled with nothing. The apartment woman is leaning up against the doorframe, her gaze wandering the room, her lips curl in thinly veiled disgust. Maybe there's some kind of note, or maybe there's something. I ran a hand through my hair, attention turning towards the desk. Not my problem. Saves me the cleanup if he did it. Ugh. God, you really are a mean individual, she says with a huff and pushes away from the frame. But if you want to keep looking, knock yourself out. Like I care what happens to this goddamn person's place. I watch her walk away, jaw tight. How could you just... I feel my fingers curl in towards my palm with a shuddered twitch, but ultimately the feeling fades and my shoulders slump. I tow the door shut and begin searching the room. The desk, bed, kitchen table. But there's nothing. No hint of anything that might tell me where he is. Everything looks exactly the same yesterday. I tried calling him one last time, somehow hoping that maybe this time it'll work. That this time he'll answer and ask why the hell I've called him so many times. But upon the first ring, a sprightly ringtone breaks the silence of the room. I follow the sound, kneel down, and pull his phone out from underneath the bed. I just stare at it for a moment before clicking it off. The screen jumps back to the main menu with its background photo of a brown droopy-eared rabbit. Oh, a brown droopy-eared rabbit. Let's be inquisitive. I pause, just looking down at it for a moment. Do I wince, bite down my tongue. It feels wrong, but at the same time, what if there's some kind of clue or hint? I mean, you never know, right? So with a twinge of guilt still dancing along the back of my neck, I start swiping through his apps. The first page is mostly just games, social media stuff. Oh gosh, the regular toxic places. Farm progress show, a couple of anime-styled icons that could either be gacha or dating sims. I swipe to the next page. It's full of hookup apps. I was going to say ads. Tinder, Blender, Grinder, and even some ones I've never heard of, like 3 Fun and Field. I scratch my head, starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm almost scared to swipe to the next page. I instinctively hold my breath. Oh, just the darkest of the places. Well, that wasn't super helpful. He barely seems to have any notifications either, just a missed calls from me. Nothing else. It feels a bit sad, actually. All these hookup ads, yet they're all silent. I chew on the inside of my cheek as I do, and toss the phone down on the bed. Somehow I feel even worse. I sink to the floor, back against the bed and knees folded up against my chest. I don't know what to do. I don't know where he is. He could be... I don't let myself finish that thought. Instead, I just sit there, arms wrapped around my knees and wondering how the hell it could have gotten this bad without anyone noticing. I think to Genzu, to the 5 of us, to the apartment lady. Her words still sting in the back of my brain. Orlam's not gross, is he? He's just different. Doesn't really fit in. Kinda like me. I stared down at my shoes, but somehow I'd flown mostly under the radar. While he got the brunt of it, I hadn't exactly been the greatest friend to him growing up. None of us had, but we had our moments, hadn't we? I like to think that. Possibly when it comes to quantity, Orlam's had the most. I like to think that. I didn't know where else to go. I closed my eyes. Is it okay if I stay here for a while longer? When had that been? 4th grade? I don't remember. Orlam's standing on the front porch, looking like he's just crawled out of an alleyway somewhere. But why? It's hot. Hotter than normal for April, and beads of sweat dot his forehead along his hairline. His shirt is a rumpled mess, and his left eye is surrounded by a deep red circle. Have you been punched? I can see parts of it is already starting to transition to purple. I glance back in the house. My mom is in the kitchen ironing and watching TV, then step out on the porch. What happened? I snip and wipe my nose. I'm just getting over a cold. That doesn't look like a cold to me. Orlam glances left. Right. Tugs at his ragtail. I fell. Oh? Why can't you go home? Another cringe. My dad's mad. Oh? We stand there for a moment, not saying anything. Finally, I jerk a thumb back in the direction of the house. We can play in my room, I guess. Really? That brings out a smile. Then he grows instantly shy. Okay. Mom, Orlam's here. We're going to play in my room. I shout as we start back in and up the stairs. Dinner's in an hour. I hear right before I close the door behind us. Hello there. Wow, you have so many toys. Orlam picks at his nose. I don't play with some of them anymore. My parents don't let me have any toys. None? I sit down in the middle of the room and Orlam follows hesitantly behind. He doesn't respond, instead looking wide-eyed at my shelves of toys and basket of stuffed animals. But because he's never had a life like that with his surroundings. With the surroundings that you grow up in, it largely affects the person that you are today. What do you want to play? I don't know. We can play Town Square, I say, and reach for my box of action figures. I dump them out on the floor. What's that? All the guys live in houses and, talk to each other and stuff? Oh, okay. I start placing my little critter and Barastane bears picture books face down on the floor in a circle. See? These are houses. Orlam picks up a Quasimodo figure from the pile. Then another small one. And an even smaller one. He looks confused. That one was from a different set, and that one was from a Happy Meal. Oh. But you can have them. They're usually a family. Okay. He places the trio of Quasimodos in a circle on top of one of the picture books. I start sorting through the rest of the figures, assigning them to various groups based on what movie they're from. Orlam watches for a moment and starts to help. I see him put Lando and Aladdin in one of the houses. I frown. Not like that. Huh? What's wrong? Those two aren't from the same movie. We can create our own stories, from different characters from different universes. I pause. Orlam's wringing his hands. He looks really flustered. Like, for example, Orlam from Act 1 meets Orlam from Act 2. He picks Lando back up and I can see him trying to figure out where to put him. I guess he's not that familiar with movies considering his upbringing, unfortunately. I scratch at my bare knee. I guess it's okay. Then smile. You can decide where to put them, okay? This brings his head back up, and I see a small smile start to form again. I can? Sure. It's not like it matters. We can make our own rules. He's beaming now. And I see him go instantly to work making various groups out of the figures, assigning them to their little houses, deciding what their occupations will be. We spend more time setting them up than we do actually playing. In fact, by the time we have the system of government outlined and have finished cutting out small golden bits of paper to act as money, Orlam's eyes are starting to droop. I see him yawn. You're tired? We could take a nap, it's okay. Okay. I stand up and step carefully around our extravagant city to reach the bed. Come on. You can even hold Pink Bunny. Aww. 5 minutes later sees us curled up atop the sheets, breeze from the overhead fan playing with our hair. Orlam's holding Pink Bunny against his chest. He rubs his head again and again. That's probably why, in a way, he has rabbit guards when he's king of his lands in the Wonderland. He sees him as something that closely resembles to something that he cherishes in the past. Have you done the social studies homework yet? I shake my head. Not yet? Then I hate it. It's so boring. I always do it last. Mrs. Acres scares me. I do it first so I don't forget. Silence. I see Orlam's gaze fall to the mattress. His eyes flutter shut, then back open, focusing back on me. Does Genzu ever talk about me? What do you mean? A shrug. Just wondering. Genzu talks about everyone. A smile. Yeah, that's true. Then, he's pretty cool, isn't he? Are you sure you're gonna say that later on? Yeah, he's pretty cool. Orlam buries his chin in the top of Pink Bunny's head, fingers curling into the fluff of his torso. I feel my eyelids start to sink. I'm tired too, and the heat isn't helping. The overhead fan is sending lovely brushes of wind against my cheeks. A series of pounding knocks from downstairs jerks me from my reverie. Is it dinner time? I half sit up, face skewed in confusion, listening. Across from me, Orlam is squeezing Pink Bunny into his chest with a worried frown. I hear the front door open, the warm timbre of my mother's voice followed by the harsh bark of a man's. I can't make out what they're saying. Then there's footsteps on the stairs, sharp and purposeful. The door to my room swings open. Is it Orlam's dad? Daddy? Orlam sits up, voice cracking. Get the goddamn hell out of here! Do you have any idea how long your mother and I have been looking for you? Orlam winces, starts to slide himself off the bed. I'm sorry, His dad grabs his wrist and yanks him off the rest of the way, nearly sending him stumbling to the floor. George! George! My mother's voice from the hallway. She's coming up the steps. Is this really necessary? They were just... Orlam's dad storms out of the room, Orlam in tow. When my son is here, you goddamn let me know. They disappear from view, but I hear them on the stairs, loud and angry, before just as quickly fading into nothingness out of the front door. Here and out in about 30 seconds. Just like the tornado that took off our roof when I was in second grade. I sit quietly on the edge of a bed. Pink Bunny is lying on the floor. His ear has knocked over the smallest that word again. Jackass. I hear my mother mutter to herself out in the hall. Yep, he is a bit of a jackass. Then, Iggy, food will be ready in 10. Could you come set up the table? Okay, Mom. I push myself off the bed and pad towards the door. It seems like Orlam's dad is a bit of a jerk. I'm not saying it lightly. It's getting dark by the time I take the bus back to my apartment. It's quiet and empty, and the world outside the windows looks exceptionally black, juxtaposed with the brilliant white fluorescent reflecting off the blue plastic seats. I stare unmoving at the opposite wall, body jerking with each turn of the wheel or tap of the brakes. And when the bus nears my stop, I let it pass in silence. Don't even glance up at the button. We keep moving, gliding through the night like a shuttle cutting through the nothingness of space. I chew on the inside of my cheek as I do. Another stop. The driver keeps us rolling without so much as a pause, as though he'd never considered stopping in the first place. My legs swing beneath the seat as we round the corner to the right, engine humming against the walls. We're almost there. I hit the button and stand up. And in a few more blocks, when the bus finally does grind to a halt, I step out the door. But yet we get near a forest, don't we? Oh my goodness sakes. It's the same scene again as last time. It's dark. Dark and cold. The bus chugs away, leaving me standing in the circle of light beneath the bus stop lamp. Where the hell am I? But with only a quick sweep of my surroundings, I know I'm there. The development close to my folks' old house, just south of the outcropping of woods that somehow hasn't been built over even after all these years. My palm tingles. A pinprick like scratching that jumps from one nerve ending to the next and makes my fingers twitch. I curl my arms around my chest in an effort to dull the growing spark. Why did I get off here? And why does all of this feel so familiar? I begin walking, melting into the night. The scattered houses like towering shadows against the light-polluted sky. I walk and walk. Walk until I reach a gap. The gap. Of course it's going to be a forest. For one, leaning straight back into the vacuum of the forest beyond. I wonder if we're going to bump into anyone. Like Genzu. Or Orlam even. I don't even stop. Already tromping across the uneven tract. Somehow this isn't new to me at all. And neither is the glint of orange floating about shoulder height in front of the trees. I saw for a moment hair prickling upwards on the back of my neck and feel my fingers instinctively curling towards my palms. Then marched forward, heels digging into the grass. Hey! Oh, it is Genzu. Okay, it's definitely not Orlam then, so it's the orange hat. Genzu doesn't even have a chance to turn at the sound of my voice before I grab him by the shoulder. Holy goodness sakes! I feel his entire body tense beneath my grip. I swear to God, I've only got $5 on me, and I have the worst hygiene regime you've ever seen, so I'd be the last person you'd want for a new skin suit. I roll my eyes and spin him around. Have you heard from Orlam? Genzu pauses a moment, cocks his head, then brightens. Oh, it's just you! Next time, make yourself sound less like a homicidal maniac. Oh, I'll try my best. Noted. I don't say anything. You know, it's actually funny. I half feel like I expected you to show up. How weird is that? Here I am doing who goddamn knows what. Anyways, then you show up doing who the god now know who what's. It's almost poetic, really. A quixotic trice of sibling. What the hell is this sentence? This is pretty complicated for me to try and decipher. Debauchery. I asked if you've heard from Orlam. Genzu pushed his glasses up on his nose, smile unwavering. How long have you known me for, eggs? Would I be in this sanguine mood if his unique brand of nightmare fuel had swooped within 5 feet of me today? I reach forward before I can stop myself. Oh, this is very new for X. Grabbing the collar of his jacket and yanking him up on his toes. He's missing. Genzu's sunglasses slide down on his nose, and I see him blink up at me in unfocused concern. This quickly fades, his lips curling up into a grin. Damn. Is it my birthday? How else could I get that lucky? I groan in aggravation and push him away. You know, you could show even a hint of concern for once. Genzu smothers down the front of his jacket. Iggy, he ain't fine. He can do whatever the hell he wants. If he's not at home, he's probably shackled up in some goddamn hotel paying to get... Anyways, we just saw him 2 days ago. I'm not worried. I press my lips together. No, he wouldn't know. How could he know? And even if he did know, he wouldn't care. I bite down on my tongue. I can feel the anger that's been fizzling just beneath my consciousness begin bobbing up towards the surface. Well, maybe. Genzu cuts me off, tapping a finger against his lips. He was also doing who the god now who knows what, and just like us, dances squirrely little feet here. Or there, really. I mean, it is awfully serendipitous, don't you think? Despite his tone, his words do give me pause, and I find myself turning my gaze towards the darkness of the woods. You mean there? Well, I don't mean the Vatican City. No, we're not anywhere near Italy. I scratch at the back of my head, curl my toes inside my shoes. Do you think we should go check? You ask as if both of us weren't planning to go already. He's right. Goodness sakes, he's right. I bring a sweaty palm to my forehead, taking a moment to close my eyes. Why the goddamn tarnation-ness does all of this feel so familiar, like if we've already done this? And what's even worse is that some part of me is scared to death, like a muffled voice in the back of my head screaming at me to turn around, head back to my apartment, lock the door behind me, and just call it a day. But I can't. Already I'm moving towards the trees, and my legs are no longer my own. Already I'm crossing the threshold between light and dark. I need to find Orlam. Make sure he's okay. Except that it's more than that, and even I know it. Well, let's go then, I finally say, my voice shuddering. Lead the way, champ. I throw a final glance at the black void between the trees, then step inside. So he's not at least any somewhat concerned that we grabbed him by the collar. The air instantly cools. It's a damn chill, the kind that sticks to your skin and weighs down your chest. I press forward through the scattered brush, using my hands to keep from walking face first into a tree. I can hear Genzu's cane whipping through the grass and snapping against bark behind me. The sound of it grinds on my nerves, and when it happens to catch my ankle one time, I snap back at him. Hey, watch it. Sorry, Jesus. I bite down my tongue. Then plow forward faster, somehow not even caring about the trees and branches scratching at my cheeks. Well, at least it's not being chewed on this time. My body seems to remember which direction to go, almost as if we'd done this before. I reach forward, seeking out the bark of the next tree. Only this time, when my fingers touch the jagged edges, it sends a spark all the way up my arm and into the back of my throat. I stop. Genzu's cane whaps against my ankles again, and he stops too. We're here? Yeah, I answer, breath strangely ragged. The biggest tree in the forest is based like a giant boulder choked with winding roots. I let my fingers trace across the surface as I circle around, careful not to trip on the gnarled outgrowths. Halfway around, my hand hits air. I come to a halt. The familiar edges are there. The rounded gap is inside. The hollow echo of stagnant air. The far scent of something sweet. It's open. I take a step back and hear Genzo approach. Jesus. My whole body is crackling with energy now. Even the breeze seems to have shifted. Everything moving towards that hole in the side of the tree. When was the last time? Probably yesterday or the day before. Somewhere very recent. In another timeline as well. We've done this. Genzu's voice is a whisper. I don't remember. I throw a glance at Genzu. I can just make him out through the darkness. He's got a hand curled up under his hat, nails scratching his scalp. I lick my lips, scratch my arm. Something feels wrong, like really wrong. Like somebody is coming from behind you with a knife and is planning to impale you with it wrong. And I can't tell if it's just because of a hole in the tree or the thought that Orlam might have gone inside said hole in the tree. I stare down into the hole. This is all feeling way too familiar. I read ahead there. If he's ready to go in there, he could be hurt or worse. My voice hitches. Iggy, it's basically a magical playground for kids. What's the worst it could do to him? Force him to sit in the corner and be a naughty boy while he's in the naughty corner? I'd be more worried about him completely blanking the place up with his freaky deaky fetishes. This makes me wince. Not just because Genzu's been an a-hole again, but also because the words ping something inconspicuous deep in the back of my brain. Like two long-lost synapses finally finding each other and zapping to life. My growing cloud of worry morphs into a storm. Still, I move forward towards the hole, popping a squat amongst the weeds. Then there's that scent again. Soft, sweet, like the tempting aroma of a candy store curls up inside my nostrils. I grab the rounded edges and peek inside, leaning forward on my toes. You're going inside, aren't you? Genzo from behind. It's phrased as a question, but I can tell it's not. Not really, at least. Exactly. It's just a matter of when, not if. I just don't feel like we have much of a choice. Can't argue with you there. I just kneel there a moment, gazing down into the blackness of the hole. There's something both terrifying and exciting about it. Like standing on top of one of those glass bridges and staring down at the ground hundreds of feet below your shoes, and realizing the only thing that is supporting you from falling down there is a sheet of glass. We can make our own rules. I don't know why that specific part of my earlier memory leaps back into my brain, but all of a sudden the walls inside the tree seem to be vibrating with the words, like an echo from deep down below. You're still there, Iggs? Huh? Have you been shouting at me? I turn my head to look back, but whack my forehead on the top edge and lose my balance. I land with a bruise-inducing thud on my shins and let out a string of four-lettered words. I bet they're like F, and then C, then U, then K, with the middle words flipped. There's also a brand of that as well, FCUK. The last thing I hear as I begin to sway forward is Genzu's half-amused, well, I guess that answers that question. Look, before toppling straight into the hole, the all-encompassing knowledge hole, the darkness swallows me. Here we go again. I'm falling. Wind whips my hair, my shirt summoning water to my eyes. My stomach feels like it's been sucked up straight into my bowels. On and on and on and on. Complete nothingness surrounding me. Just another day being me, consuming me. But there's a strange sense of familiarity in the darkness too, like I've been here before. Almost like an old friend is, welcoming me back. It's both a comforting and strangely powerful feeling. This was our place. A place where we belonged. Where I belonged. Away from the all-seeing eyes of society. Iggy. Open my eyes. That voice again. Again? Yes, again. It's been waiting for me. What do you want, Iggy? What do I want? What kind of a question is that? What do you wish for more than anything else in the whole world? That's... I don't know. I think about my life. About my clients and the work waiting for me at home. About my parents. My friends. Bucks and Hunar. Gidget and Genzu. Orlam with his head shoved inside the toilet. The good times. I clench my eyes shut tighter. Everyone always wants something from me. Just leave me alone. I don't want anything. My fingers are starting to tingle. First tiny nibbles of numbness, then building into incessant zaps of electricity. Up my arms they go, growing and growing into my chest, into my stomach, shooting down into my legs. And loud. So loud I can't hear, can't think. Just when I think I can't take it anymore, we hit rock bottom. My mind goes blank. Are we gonna wake up in a house? Iggy? There's something soft below me. A furry warmth cuddled up and nestled against my back like an oversized lumbar pillow. Iggy, what a strange dream. I almost feel like I've been sleeping for a long time. What's the point in waking up now, though? Let the world keep on spinning without me for a few more minutes, please. Let me have my beauty sleep. I roll over with a groan. Ugh, just 5 more minutes, hon. For goodness sakes, Iggs, you're gonna get yourself buried in there. My eyes snap open. Ah, a familiar scene. This isn't my bed. This isn't my room. And that definitely wasn't a dream. I let my gaze turn towards the pile of stuffed animals I'm currently curled up in. A sad grey rabbit with droopy eyes is staring up at me. A sad grey rabbit. Another coincidence of a rabbit being mentioned. Oh. I blink in silence until a shadow overtakes my view. The shadow and presence of Genzu. And I look up to see a familiar orange-capped head. Don't tell me that fool knocked a few screws loose. You're looking at that rabbit as though it's about to start talking. I blink. Look from Genzu to the rabbit, then back to Genzu. Wait, then we? I jump to my feet. Or perhaps stumble would be a better word considering the way my legs almost buckle beneath me. I hold my head, waiting for the room to stop spinning before attempting to walk. Easy on the sudden movements there, bud. No, we have not been cryogenically frozen. Genzu just laughs and brings a hand up to my shoulder for support. I barely register what he says, my attention more focused on our surroundings. The hardwood floor, the rounded windows, the crackling fire. Everything is the same as I remember. Even the table is still covered with half-eaten cookies and cake from our final feast, but somehow they still seem to be fresh, almost as if they were just baked yesterday. Goodness sakes is all I can say. Stole the word right out of my mouth. Genzu gives me a cooperative pat on the back. I take a step forward towards the table. Don't know where I got the word forward from. Then towards the stove. Then stop. Is Orlam here? I begin twisting my head back and forth. Genzu rolls his eyes. How the hell am I supposed to know? I don't know. Maybe you were awake before I was, so therefore you'd have a better idea at our surroundings. Or at least our immediate surroundings. I don't acknowledge his response, instead already busy in my search. No, but you will find him at some point. I check out all 3 sets of windows. Nothing. Out of the door. Nothing. I even checked beneath the goddamn tables where he could somehow possibly have been hiding there. But he's nowhere to be found. My shoulders sag for just a moment. Then rise. Perhaps he left some sort of clue for us? Not blue though. I'll restart my search with renewed vigor. This time checking the shelves and cupboards behind the doors and furnitures. Genzu watches me the entire time, arms curled across his chest. Iggy? Seriously? You know you could be helping? I huff as I push myself back up from checking under the beds. 1. Genzu begins counting on his fingers. I don't care. 2. I don't actually care. And 3. I really do not care. I'm a little more concerned about figuring out what the hell's going on here than I am about Freckles McFreckleface. He continues simply watching me as I move from a set of cupboards filled with boxes of cookies to a crooked chest of drawers. Dust and moths and who knows what else escapes in a cough-inducing cloud that gets sucked straight into my lungs as I open first one drawer and then another. Okay, that does make sense actually. It's just me. I blink back for water that springs to my eyes. They're all empty. All empty except I yank open the bottom one and hear a whole pile of cylindrical objects go rolling at the force. Crayons? There's hundreds of them. And they clutter and rattle against each other with the movement of the drawer. That's interesting. I grab a handful. All of them look like they've seen use. Some even worn down to knobs. I see more flashes of color beneath where they lie. Drawings. Pages and pages of them. I drop the crayons back in and start intricating the papers instead. I don't know why that took me so long. The hell is all that? Genzu wanders over. Somebody's drawings. Well, I can see that I'm not... He stops. I stop. Then I look up at him. I've only just noticed he's not wearing his sunglasses. Oh! Genzu turns away. Hand to his head and massaging his scalp underneath. It's, you know, the wish and all. It's just a temporary thing. I blink. Look down at the drawings, look back up at Genzu. It's actually weird now that I think about it. I didn't even notice. Almost like I expected it. The thought elicits a gurgle of unease from my belly. I shake my head to force it away. It's no big deal. I mean, what else were you gonna wish for, right? I don't know, maybe something else if he wasn't, I don't know, visually impaired. Right. Anyway, help me get these over to the table. Sure. The two of us gather up as many of the drawings as we can from the bottom of the drawer, dumping them on top of the table. Cookie and cake crumbs go tumbling to the floor in the process. And look at that. The drawings are crude to say the least. But from the splash of orange decorating most of them, it's clear who made them. Orlam. I didn't know Orlam was an artist. Genzu bites down on his lip as though holding in laughter. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being an artist. It is an incredible talent. When did he do all those, though? I don't remember any of us doing any drawing during our trips here. Maybe he came by himself? Genzu scratched his forehead. Nothing keeping us from coming whenever we wanted. A pause. No, not that I ever came by myself. He turns away with an unsubtle cough. I feel my own cheeks heat up. Look, okay. I'd come by myself more than a few times. Sometimes just to get away from things. To have a place for myself to think. To escape. To shout at the top of my lungs where no one could hear me. But I never thought about the others. If they'd done something similar. I'd turn my gaze back to the drawings. There's so many of them. Most of them sporting Orlam and rabbits. Playing outside, going on picnics, reading stories in bed. A good number of others are simply of a single brown rabbit with droopy ears. Again with the theme of rabbits with droopy ears. Not a Wonderland rabbit. A normal rabbit. Drawings of it smiling, sleeping, eating leaves. Some of them with Orlam and the rabbit. Holding it, petting it, feeding it. Forcing it to do things that it doesn't want to do, but because King Orlam is the king, the rabbit just has to do what Orlam says. I really loved that rabbit. I finger through a pile, moving more into view. Hey, isn't this you? I point at one of Orlam and what looks like Genzu holding hands with a smiling sun overhead. Isn't that sweet? Indeed it is. Genzu scowls and shoves it away, so hard it flutters to the floor. Stupid. Give him a hard time. Nah, let's just ignore it. He seems especially aggravated, so I don't say anything more. Instead, simply continuing my raffling. Holy sheesh. I stop on one of a tall figure holding the brown rabbit in the air. Beneath the figure is a tiny Orlam with tears raining down his face. That could be a representation of his dad. Genzu and I just stare at it. I keep going. The drawings are getting weirder. Lots of black, lots of blue, lots of dark scribbles of Orlam crying. Of the tall figure from earlier with its hands raised and another shorter figure looking at the ground with a giant frown. Of a shorter figure standing in a pool of red. I reach the final drawing, which is probably going to be the most morbid. And suck in my breath. Whoa, what's going on there then? It's nothing but jagged red and black scribbles. He attacked the paper so hard it actually torn in places. And I can see upraised mounds of wax where pieces of the crayons have become lodged in the resulting grooves. Genzu and I don't say anything. I let my hand fall back to my side with a slump. Well, that went from 0 to 100 of concern a little too quickly for my taste. I don't respond. I don't know what to say. All I know is there's a big cold stone forming in my gut. Just hope it's not a kidney one. They're painful. I'm not able to dwell on it long. However, because of that moment, the sound of footsteps interrupts my thoughts. I wonder what that's about. Heavy, march-like, steady and methodical. I threw a glance at Genzu, then dashed towards the window. Genzu follows suit, and soon both of us have our fingers on the sill and our hands squeezed inside the rounded frame, eyes seeking out the source of the sound. They come 2 by 2, boots bruising the dirt, long ears bouncing left and right. Are these rabbits with droopy ears? They round the curve of the well-trimmed path, kicking up dust with each synchronous step. Hey, aren't those the rabbits? Wait a minute, rabbits. Something dings in my head. A strange connection I hadn't even known was there. Something about the rabbits and Orlam. Yes, there's definitely a connection there. What I don't know, but it's enough to propel me to my feet and towards the door. Maybe they know where Orlam is, I say as I bring my hand to the doorknob. But I don't have the chance to twist it before I'm shoved backwards into the wall. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Genzu huffs, his fingers curled into the fabric of my shirt. You can't go out there. Those things will murder you. I feel my jaw tighten. And why the hell would they murder me? We used to play with them all the time back in the day. Genzu blinks, and I see the side of his mouth twitch as he throws a glance towards the door. Because I just know, okay? I have a really bad feeling about those rabbits in particular. He swallows hard. Oh, you have a bad feeling, do you? Maybe because you've been doing something nice for Orlam for once. Is that it? And your brain just can't take it? I push back against Genzu with enough force that it throws him off guard, and he takes a step back. His eyes grow wide, then turns sharp. Another twitch. This has goddamn nothing all to do with Orlam, okay? I'm just trying to keep us from getting killed. Oh. Yeah, let's think about this logically. Yeah, I guess you're right. But I'm really curious about that bottom option, though. Like if it's going to be a thing that's going to be a deciding factor towards our survival, or we need to select the other option. So what we're probably going to be doing is, in the next time, by the way, this is the end of the video, but we're going to be selecting, you keep telling yourself that, and seeing where that goes off, because maybe that will throw Genzu off as a bit of a surprise. But what we learned today about Orlam is both fascinating but also really sad as well. Like his entire life has been, well, this perpetual cycle of sadness because of the fact that his childhood didn't really have a lot of light to it. The only times are good were when Orlam was with his friends. Genzu question mark as a friend there. But it's really sad. Also, seeing the environment that Orlam has built himself up with his apartment really reflects the kind of status of his mind. He's a rather unstable individual when it comes to dealing with things in life and dealing with stress, dealing with emotions. It's unfortunately all over the place. And it goes to show that Orlam is an individual that has had a huge amount of turmoil throughout his upbringing, probably the most amount out of all of the characters. But we have yet to see like Gidget's upbringing, or Hunar's upbringing, or Bux's upbringing. All we know so far is about Iggs, Genzu, and part of Orlam. But we have yet to find out more, but we will discover more as we go through the game some more. So we are probably coming up towards getting to the halfway point of this entire game. Like Act 3 halfway through is halfway through the game, I think, because beginning of Act, well, not even beginning of Act 1, but beginning of the game and going to Act 1, and then going through Act 2, and then there's Act 3, then halfway through that is possibly the halfway point. And then from there, Act 4, and then waiting for Act 5 to fully release before we'll fully play that. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Our Wonderland. Which of these two shall we select? Shall we be grateful that Genzu is looking out for us? Or are we going to continue down this path of Genzu keep trying to probe at Orlam. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, everyone.